गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स, और आपका स्वागत है मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल एडवेंचर विद संजय में। और आज है हमारा सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट दिन, क्योंकि आज हम मूव करने वाले हैं क्रूज़ पे। तो अभी ब्यूनस आयरेस में होटल हिल्टन में हूँ। सुबह के 4 बजे हैं, 4 भी अभी पूरे नहीं बजे हैं। और हम लोग को ब्रेकफास्ट मिल गया था यहाँ 3 बजे। कोई ख़ास नहीं था, क्योंकि या तो ये सुबह सुबह का टाइम है, तो जिस हिसाब से ये होटल है ना, उस हिसाब से ब्रेकफास्ट बिल्कुल भी मतलब का नहीं था। तो या तो क्योंकि सुबह सुबह 3 बजे दिया उन्होंने, इसलिए। और ये सारे जो लोग आप देख रहे हैं ना, ये सब क्रूज़ के हैं। मेरी बसेस से यहाँ से एयरपोर्ट जाएंगे। मेरा तो बस नंबर 7 है। 4 बजे हैं यहाँ के सुबह सुबह। इंडियन सिर्फ 3 ही है, एक मैं और 2 और। आप देख रहे हैं एयरपोर्ट है ब्यूनस आयरेस का, EZE। इनके 2 एयरपोर्ट हैं, एक शहर से दूर है EZE और एक शहर के अंदर है AEP। तो यहाँ हमें बस से ले आए थे ये लोग, आधा पौना घंटे की बस की ड्राइव है। और अभी आप देख रहे हो यहाँ एयरपोर्ट का, हमारा एयरपोर्ट तो बहुत अच्छा है इसके मुकाबले। शहर अच्छा था, एयरपोर्ट तो मेरे को लगता है नया बनाना चाहिए इन लोगों को। और कितने लोग जा रहे हैं यार सुबह, ये पता नहीं। हाँ, अलग अलग जगह पे जा रहे होंगे। मैं वैसे ही प्रिज्यूम कर रहा हूँ कि सारे उशुआ जा रहे हैं। उशुआ क्यों जाएंगे? तो यहाँ से तो मतलब ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड। मैं यहीं लैंड किया था ना अभी 14 तारीख की सुबह। तो ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड यहीं से फ़्लाइट्स आती हैं इनकी मेन। तो ये है आपका एयरपोर्ट। तो बाकी यूरोपियन स्टैंडर्ड से और इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड से एयरपोर्ट अभी काफ़ी पीछे है। 7 बजे ये फ़्लाइट उड़ी थी आपकी ब्यूनस आयरेस से, और उशुआ हम पहुंच गए 10:30 बजे। तो 3.5 घंटे की फ़्लाइट थी और काफ़ी टर्बुलेंस रहा, खासकर जब हम उशुआ के पास लैंड कर रहे थे। और अमेजिंग व्यू से लैंडिंग के टाइम पे बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं कैप्चर कर पाया, क्योंकि मेरी विंडो सीट नहीं थी और दोनों तरफ ना सी दिखाई दे रहा था। तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि हम सी के बीच में लैंड कर रहे हैं, एक छोटी सी स्ट्रिप पे। और अगर आप ओवरशूट कर जाए ना, मैं देख रहा था कि सीधा ही जहाज़ पानी में जाएगा समुंदर के अंदर। और ये एक छोटा सा क्यूट सा एयरपोर्ट है इसका। अब यहाँ पे हमारे बैग्स आएंगे। बेल्ट पे से अपना बैग लेके ना अब हम लोगों ने यहाँ छोड़ दिया है। अब ये इनके हवाले है। सब बैग पे ना टैग लगा हुआ है, उस पर उसका रूम नंबर लगा हुआ है। तो ये अपने अपना शिप में पहुँच जाएगा और आपके केबिन में भी पहुँच जाएगा। अब यहाँ से आगे बढ़ते हैं। इतने आप ये एयरपोर्ट देख लीजिए, उशुआ। तो वेलकम टू द सदर्नमोस्ट सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। तो आप समझ लीजिए साउथ पोल के क्लोजेस्ट आगे हैं, हैबिटेड लैंड के ऊपर, इनहैबिटेड लैंड के ऊपर। अब इसके नीचे और कुछ नहीं है। तो अब यहाँ से उशुआ लोग ना खाली अंटार्कटिका जाने के लिए भी नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, वैसे भी आते हैं। तो एक ना इनसे मैप ले लिया जाए उशुआ का। Can I have one? Thank you, thank you. तो ये ना मैंने एक उशुआ का लोकल मैप भी रख लिया, अपने बैग में रखेंगे, इसको पढ़ेंगे। और यहाँ पे डिफरेंट टूर्स ऑपरेट होते हैं, तो ये देख सकते हैं आप। और धूप तो अच्छी लग रही है। तो मैं बिल्कुल रॉ दिखा रहा हूँ ये वीडियोस, ज़्यादा इसके अंदर मसाला नहीं है, एडिटिंग भी ज़्यादा नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं। ओह माय गॉड, तो शिट, क्या तेज़ हवा चल रही है यार इधर। 9 डिग्री गुड, 9 डिग्री टेम्परेचर बताया है। और एकदम बहुत बाहर निकल। अरे वाह यार, लैंडस्केप देखो दोस्तों इधर यार। मैं तो उड़े जा रहा हूँ एकदम। बस में बाद में बैठेंगे। ये हमारी बसेज लगी हुई है, 1 2 3 4 5, वही नंबर डला हुआ है जो पहले था। तो बस में जाएंगे बाद में, पहले देखते हैं। यहाँ देखो धूप तो अच्छी लग रही है, लेकिन हवा बहुत तेज़ है यार। और प्लेन भी तो बड़ा ऊपर नीचे, इतना लाइफ में आज से किसी प्लेन को मैंने हिलते हुए नहीं देखा।
So, first of all, welcome to Ushuaia. Welcome to the end of the world. First time here, or have you been here already? But, well, first of all, my name is Bianca. I'm going to be your tour guide today. And right here by the driver's seat is seated Fabian. Okay, he's gonna be our driver today. We're gonna be taking you to the lake excursion. Even though you're seeing me with this coat, we do not belong to the cruise ship. We are actually from a company that is called Polkeshen, and this is a company that got hired from the cruise to be able to do this shore excursion. So we're gonna take you to the lake excursion today. We're gonna be visiting a beautiful lake. I really love it. That is called Hidden Lake or Escondido Lake in Spanish. So the first place we're gonna head to is a viewpoint that is called Carvajal Viewpoint. It's a place where you're gonna be able to see all the valley that belongs to the Olivia River. And after that, we're gonna head to another viewpoint, which is Garibaldi Pass. Garibaldi Pass is a pass in between the Andes Mountains. It's the highest point of the road we're gonna take, which is the National Road number 3. And from there, we can have the whole viewpoint to see Hidden Lake. It's a beautiful spot to take some pictures as well. And from there, we're gonna go to a winter center so that we can have a short walk to be able to go see a beaver's dam. And also, we're gonna have lunch in there. It's a sort of buffet lunch, so you can choose anything you want from the table. You're gonna have lamb, vegetables, salads, pasta, so you can choose anything you like from there. And we can also go to a distillery that's on the same place so that you can try some gin as well. It's local gin. It's made with 16 different herbs, so it's quite good. I will advise you to try some of it. And after that, we're gonna head back to the port so that we can take you to the cruise ship, all right? Any questions so far?
And looking to the left, this brown house with a big eye we have here, this is the touristic office. If you later have time, you'll have to ask the crew members when you get to the ship to do the check-in. But if you have enough time, you can come to this brown house so that you can take your passport with you and stamp it with a stamp of the end of the world, okay? It's a good souvenir if you want to take it back home. And in this place, you can also charge your phones. It's a nice place. You can ask for maps of the city as well. But you'll have to see with the crew members if they give you enough time to come to this place after, right? And looking to your right, you're gonna see many different cruises. You can see that yacht, the white yacht with the dark blue lower body, that is called Octopus. That Octopus is one of the biggest yachts in the world. And you know that it has been constructed for the co-founder of Microsoft Enterprises. And this yacht usually comes around Ushuaia because it does some expeditions to the Antarctica and Cape Horn as well. So this is why it is here since a couple of days actually. Now, here to the left, look at this white building with the red roof. We're leaving it behind now. So that is part of the Navy station in here in Ushuaia. And I haven't told you just now, but you know Ushuaia was a city founded in the year 1884, and it got founded from the Navy, the Argentinian Navy. Actually, the idea for the foundation of this city came from the national government. It was a project to bring and install a permanent settlement of Argentinians in this area. And you have to think about the fact that it had been some quite difficult years in that moment, because we had been in tensions between the Argentinian and Chilean government because of the sovereignty of these lands. So the idea of the Argentinian government wants to install a permanent settlement of Argentinians in this site to claim the sovereignty of this place. And they sent an expedition led by Captain Lacerre. He came with a whole number of officers from the Navy. They came here and they founded this city, October 12th of the year 1884. Now, the fact is that when they came to this place, there was something that they didn't think about, and that is the fact that nobody wanted to come here. Nobody wanted to live in this island because of this same fact. We usually don't speak about this, or we don't think too much about this fact, but the idea or the fact is that we are living in an island. We are completely surrounded by water, and we are isolated from the rest of the continent, from the rest of Argentina. If you think about it, we are surrounded in the north by the Magellan Strait. We have the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans on each side, and to the south we have the Beagle Channel right here. So we are completely isolated from the rest of our country. Back then it was even worse because the only way to get to Ushuaia was by ship, by boat. And those boats will only come once a year with supplies. So it was quite a harsh life, and nobody wanted to migrate to this area. So seeing this fact, the Argentinian government brought up another project. And that had to do with the idea of, if nobody wants to come here on their own, we're gonna start bringing people that don't have an opinion on the matter. Those were the convicts. So that's how the history of Ushuaia begins, because that's when the prisoner colony started, okay? In the year 1902, that's when the prison got founded. And this prison was a military prison and recidivist prison. And the fact is that the people in there came from all over Argentina. Some of them were thieves. We got here military deserters. We got the first serial killer in Argentina coming to this place. So it was quite a place, actually. They came from all different sorts of lives. Some of them had education, some of them didn't. So when they came here, they will start being taught different type of works to be able to work on the land, so that when they came out of the prison, they were able to have their lives back. So those were the beginnings, the real beginnings here of Ushuaia as a prisoner colony during the year 1902. Okay. So, doing a pause on the story I'm telling you, I want to show you here to the right. You can see on the top of a hill, you can see a green building right there. That is actually the Aracur Hotel. That is a 5-star hotel. That is one of the most VIP ones here in Ushuaia, and that hotel has beautiful views, not only from the bay, also from the valley that is right beside it. That is the Andorra Valley. It's a very expensive hotel, let me tell you, but the views from there are just beautiful. And it has received many different famous people coming here, and one of them was Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, this actor from the US. He came here just around 10 years ago, I think. So yeah, he stayed in this same hotel. Now, the place we are going through now, this is actually the industrial neighborhood of Ushuaia. You might see all these little houses. Some of these are actually factories. This is the outskirts of Ushuaia, and this is a small neighborhood though. You can see some containers also in the area. Those belong to the port because Ushuaia port is one of the main ports in all of Argentina. If we're speaking about the movement of containers it gets every year, okay? The main one is Buenos Aires, of course, and there's another one that's very important on the coast of the province of Buenos Aires, and that is Mar del Plata, okay? That is on the coast of the province. But this one is the second or third one in importance in Argentina. So it gets a lot of movement, not only from cruise ship or passenger ships, also from containers as well. Arriving to our first stop, this is a Carvajal Valley viewpoint. We're gonna be here just for a few minutes.
तो गाइस, अभी आपने कितना हिस्ट्री और यहाँ का उशुआ के बारे में सुना. दैट गर्ल वाज अमेजिंग. कितना उसने हमारे साथ शेयर किया नॉलेज. एंड हर प्रोनाउंसिएशन, हर कमांड ओवर इंग्लिश वाज फैंटास्टिक. और ये हमारा पहला व्यू पॉइंट है जैसा कि आपने सुना. तो यहाँ से आप देख सकते हैं. तो बहुत ही मतलब वी आर एट द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड आप कह सकते हैं, द सदर्न मोस्ट प्लेस. और इस समय हम 344 मीटर अबव हैं, अबव सी लेवल. तो उस हिसाब से तो खैर हमारा ऑल्टीट्यूड ठीक ठाक है, दिल्ली वाला ऑल्टीट्यूड है ये. और यहाँ से ये व्यू पॉइंट आप देख रहे हैं. और इसमें यार यहाँ पे ना लोग ड्राइविंग के लिए भी आते हैं. तो मेरे मन में ख़तरनाक आइडिया आ रहा है. और यहाँ कंटेनर्स पोर्ट शिप्स भी आते हैं. तो अपनी गाड़ी लेके आओ यहाँ पर और फिर 4 महीने यहाँ से ड्राइव करो और फिर निकल जाओ ऊपर साउथ अमेरिका. ये जो लंदन का ट्रिप हुआ ना, ये उससे ज़्यादा अमेजिंग हो सकता है. तो अपनी गाड़ी शिप करो सीधा उशुआ और यहाँ से ऊपर चले जाओ USA. अब ऐसा लगता है कि हम अपने हिमालयस को देख रहे हैं एट दिस हाइट ऑफ 344 मीटर. तो खैर ये व्यूज़ तो जो मैं देख रहा हूँ ना, मेरे को ऐसे बहुत सारे व्यूज़ मैं आपके साथ पिक्चर शेयर करूँगा। और जब मैंने ट्रैक किया था, 2 ट्रैक्स की बात करता हूँ। एक तो ऑर्डिनेंस कॉल किया था जो गंगोत्री से केदारनाथ जाता है। बस फ़र्क क्या है कि यहाँ मैं 334 मीटर की हाइट पे हूँ, उस समय मैं 5000 मीटर की हाइट पे ये व्यूज़ देखता था। इससे कहीं ज़्यादा किलर व्यूज़ हैं वो। बट यस, यहाँ सब लोग आ सकते हैं बस में। वहाँ सिर्फ 10 दिन के ट्रैक करके हार्डकोर ट्रैकर्स ही उस व्यूज़ को देख सकते हैं, बस यही फ़र्क है। तो ये व्यूज़ मासिस के लिए हैं, वो व्यूज़ बहुत सिलेक्टेड लोगों के लिए थे। और फिर दूसरा मैंने किया था कालिंदी खाल, जो गंगोत्री से गया था बद्रीनाथ, तो उसमें भी बहुत ज़बरदस्त व्यूज़ थे। तो ये वाले व्यूज़ उनके सामने पेल हैं, लेकिन नेवरदलेस कंपैरिजन नहीं करें तो ये अपने आप में भी बहुत अच्छे हैं, लेकिन ना अननोइंगली कंपैरिजन हो जाता है। तो दोस्तों, जो लोग ट्रैक नहीं करते हैं ना, उनके लिए मैं बता रहा हूँ, जब हम ट्रैकिंग शुरू करिए, आप ट्रैकिंग में जो आप देखते हैं ना, उसके सामने सब कुछ फीका है। क्योंकि अब यहाँ पे भी अगर हम सपोज ट्रैक करके अंदर घुस जाएंगे सामने माउंटेन्स के बीच में, या उनके पीछे चले जाएं, तो वो जो व्यूज़ आएंगे, या उधर ऊपर चढ़ जाएं सामने, ये सामने वाली पीक के पीछे चले जाएं, वो जो व्यूज़ आएंगे ना, वो तो कुछ और ही कहानी होगी। मैं फटाफट बस में जाके ना, जी मेरा बैग पीछे है, मैं अपनी बैटरी निकाल लेता हूँ।
Here to the left, that is the Olivia River Valley, and you can see all those different colors, these red, brown, green colors. All of those belong actually to a type of wetland that is on the riverside, and that is called peat bog. You know, peat bog is one of the most common wetlands we have here in this island. And actually around 92% of peat bog in Argentina is located on this same island. So this is why most of it is being protected under national park or reservations in the area. And peat bog is quite an interesting wetland because the one we have here is composed of a type of moss that is called sphagnum. This moss only grows on old glacier valleys. Okay, so the fact that you're seeing that wetland in there means that all this valley was once covered by a whole glacier. Now, the fact is that this moss only grows 1 millimeter per year. So some of these peat bogs have been found to be 10 meters deep. You can imagine how old some of them are if they only grow 1 millimeter per year. Now, the fact is that inside the peat bogs, the acidic level is so high that the decomposition level is very, very slow. So this means that inside the peat bog, it's being preserved different types of organisms like insects or plants that have long been extinct. Okay, so this is why the peat bogs are very important, very valuable for research purposes, because scientists have found this type of plants, this type of insects that have been dead for actually a good while, but they can still make some research on them because of this. Now, other than this, just by the fact that they are wetlands, they are very valuable for the environment as well, because they function as a sort of sponge. They gather water during the rainy season and they release it during the dry season to the river stream. So they are very important for us as well. And here in Argentina, even though most of them are being protected, there is some of them that aren't, and those are being extracted for being used as fertilizers, okay, as a sort of soil improver for the cultivation process. Now, I've heard, I think this is not done anymore though, but I've heard that in some other countries, like in Scotland, they do some extraction of peat bog to be able to use it for making smoked whiskey, okay? We don't do that here, but I heard they still do it, and they just take it during the cooking process of the seed, and this gives its strong flavor, this strong smoked flavor to the whiskey. It's very particular of the Scotch whiskey, and even though we don't produce it here in Argentina, you can find some of it if you go to the city center in like the duty-free shop or in even some souvenir shops as well, okay? So we're now going back through this same forest I was telling you before, And in just a few meters ahead, you're gonna be able to notice a parking lot that's sitting to the left side of the bus. That is actually the parking lot for the beginning of a trail here, a trekking trail that is to Emerald Lake. Okay, Emerald Lake is one of the most common trekkings here in Ushuaia. It's a trekking that takes 2 hours until you reach, here you can see it to the left, until you reach a lake, a lake called Emerald Lake. That's beautiful. It's sitting in between the mountains. And if you keep going, there's another trekking going from that Emerald Lake to another lake that is higher even on the mountain. And all of that trekking trail, if you do it both together, those are around 10 hours long. Okay, they're very long trekking trails. But if you only go to Emerald Lake, it's only 2 hours to go, 2 hours to get back here to the road. So there's many people that do it because it's quite easy actually to do it. There is not much difficulty on it. So you don't need to be a sportsman to do it. Now, speaking back again, this forest I was telling you now, you might see in some of the tree trunks, on the sticks of the tree as well, you might see some little green hairs attached to the tree. You know, those are a type of lichen that is called, or at least we call it, old man's beard. This lichen is actually an organism that functions as a relation between an algae and a mushroom, and it gets attached to the tree. It takes the tree as a host and starts taking nutrients from the tree. Now, the fact is that their existence here is very important because they are bioindicators of the cleanliness of the air. You're not going to be able to see this type of lichen in the city center, in urban areas, because of the pollution, of the contamination of the air. So the fact that you're seeing this lichen, this old man's beard in here, means that we are in a place with clean air. And here, this old man's beard is pretty short. If you keep going inside the forest and you get lost inside of it, you're gonna find some lichens that are very, very long, around 30 centimeters long. And this means the air is even more pure. Okay, so they're very good bioindicators for the cleanliness of the air in here. And that's why they are also used for research purposes as well, for the pollution levels in Ushuaia. Now, here to the left, you can also see another peat bog here in the area, in the bottom of the valley. This one is more able to see, you can see it here. And to the left, this old house with the black roof, this is a winter center, actually. This is called Tierra Mayor Winter Center. And this is the beginning of a new valley that we're going through now, which has the same name, Tierra Mayor in Spanish, or Major Land in English. You can even see a horse in there. He's completely alone. Usually you can see them in groups, but he's completely alone in here. We have some family ranch in the area, so it's common to see horses around. But this same valley is a valley where almost all of the winter centers of Ushuaia are located in. That one you just saw, Tierra Mayor, the one with the black roof, that is the oldest one in the whole city, in the whole area. And it actually got developed by a guy that was called Gustavo Giro. Gustavo Giro was actually a guy, a soldier from the Argentine army, and he came to this point, and he was one of the expeditionaries that started going to the Antarctica back then. He was actually the first Argentinian to make expeditions by foot in Antarctic continent, and he actually led a whole group to go to the White Continent. And he didn't do this alone. He actually had the help of other soldiers, of course, but also a very important character who was his dog. You know, he took his own dog, which was from a new breed that we started developing here in Argentina during the past century. This new breed was the polar Argentinian dog. Okay, you're gonna find here in this area some of the winter centers that have huskies. Actually, they still make some walks with husky, and some of them, even though it's an activity that's quite been left in the past, Some of them still do some walk with them, and they use these dogs as sled dogs as well. But the fact is that this new breed of dog that I was telling you just now, it was developed by mixing different types of dogs, different types of breeds. One of them was the Siberian Husky, Alaskan Malamutes, Manchurian Spitz. We started mixing these breeds, and that's how the Argentinian Polar Dog came to be about. This dog was developed between the Argentinian military and also scientific research. And this dog was actually developed to help the expeditionaries that went to the White Continent. It was a beautiful dog, and the males usually weighed around 60 kilos. They were very big. They could run up to 35 kilometers per hour. They were very fast, very strong as well. And they even had under their hair coat, they had like a coat of fat that helped them endure winter. So they could endure temperatures of 70 degrees below zero. Okay, speaking in centigrade in here, so that's very, very cold. Now, the fact is that they were the ones helping the expeditionaries that went to the White Continent, and some of them even took the expeditionaries on different excursions, and they were able somehow, even though this hasn't been confirmed how, they think it has to be with their hearing, they were able to detect the breakings of the ice. You know, in Antarctica, it's quite hard to go walking around because of this same thing. Many expeditionaries have died in there because of this. Sometimes the ice breaks below you from one moment to the other, and you end up falling in a breaking. So these dogs were able to detect the breakings of the ice and just deter the excursion from going to that same path. So they saved many different lives because of this. And most people say that if Argentina was done on horseback, the Antarctica expedition was done with the help of dogs. So polar dogs are very, very much appreciated in here. But the fact is that they do not exist here anymore, though. Now, before I keep telling you about this, you can see that we're going under a tunnel in here, and there's another one coming. These two tunnels belong to the most important winter center we have here in the area, and that is the Beaver's Hill. You can see the parking lot to the right, and the hill is sitting to the left side, although it's gonna be quite hard to see it from here because we're right on the foot of the hill. So this hill is called Cerro Castor in Spanish, or Beaver's Hill in English. You know that this hill is the most important winter center here in the area. There's many families that come here during our winter, mainly in July, in August. They come here to keep practicing, and here we have two types of skiing trails. We have the alpine skiing and also the cross-country skiing. So we have both types, and there's many families that come here in winter. Even though that is not our high season, there's still many people coming here. And even some committees that come from Europe with their youngsters to keep practicing, because they are in summer in that moment, in July, in August. So they come here to keep practicing. So there's committees coming from Belgium, from Germany, Italy. They come here to keep practicing so that they keep themselves trained for some international competitions that going on here and also in some other parts of the world. Okay, so they usually come here a lot during winter. Now, speaking back again about these polar dogs, you know that even though they were developed for working in Antarctica, they worked in that continent for around 40 years until the international treaty came about. You know, this international treaty was signed by many different countries, and Argentina was one of them. And one of the conditions for this treaty had to do with the fact that every species that wasn't native to the White Continent had to be just taken out from there. And the polar dogs were one of them. Even though Argentina was against it, the fact is that we had already signed this treaty, so we had to get them here. And we brought a great number of them to this island, to Tierra del Fuego, and the rest of them went to another province that is on the foot of the hill of the Andes Mountains, on the center west side of Argentina, that is called Mendoza. But the fact is that in the first year we brought 30 dogs here to Ushuaia. By next year, 28 of them were dead already. And this has to do with the fact not only that they were used to a different type of weather, mainly it had to do with the fact that they started catching illnesses in here. In the white continent, they were completely isolated from the rest of the breeds. So when they came here, they started interacting with another dogs, with another breeds, started getting mixed, and they started catching illnesses. So they weren't prepared for this, and most of them died by the next few years. So today, this polar Argentinian breed is actually extinct. We don't have any more polar dogs in here, even though they were very appreciated and we still remember them with love and with care. We don't have any more polar dogs in here, but you may Google it, you may still find some photos of them, and you can see that they were actually beautiful dogs. And I usually call them Superman dogs because they were able to do almost anything. But we don't have them here anymore. We only remember them with a lot of love.